Judge blasts 2 home runs to tie Joe DiMaggio. Cam Schlittler shoves, and the Yankees avoid the sweep against the Tigers today. We're still 3 games back versus Toronto Blue Jays. Heading into Fenway tomorrow in a must-win 3-game set versus the Red Sox. Can the Yankees beat Boston and catch Toronto? We will see. What's going on, everybody? I hope everybody's having a great day. 24th anniversary of September 11th. And I'll never forget that day. It's crazy. And then maybe after we talk about the Yankees and everything, I'll tell you exactly where I was and what I was doing. I was in New York City that day in Manhattan. Obviously, I grew up in the Lower East Side Manhattan. So it's a day I'll never forget. Crazy, crazy stuff. Before we get into all of that, the Yankees, after losing 2 in embarrassing fashion to the Tigers, today felt like a must-win game. Absolutely must-win, especially heading into Fenway in a big series. This is going to be a big series. Look, regardless if we can catch Toronto or not, we can't let the Red Sox overtake us in the standings. Right now, the standings are looking like this. We're still 3 back and only a half game up on the Red Sox. So we don't want to leave Fenway holding on to... We don't want to leave Fenway in 3rd place, okay? Pretty much. We don't want to leave Fenway in 3rd place. But, shout out to Aaron Judge. 2 home runs. Surpasses Joe DiMaggio for the all-time home runs by New York Yankees. So Judge is at 360. I expect him, obviously, to pass that. A lot of news came out today, right? And we'll start with the Anthony Volpe news. So it was reported, I guess, that he has a partial tear in his labrum. And look, I'll be honest with you, that is a serious injury. If that's the truth, it's tough to play like that, right? In his left shoulder, so not his throwing arm. But my whole thing is this, guys, right? Look, if you pull up his numbers, especially offensively, he's not much better or much worse than he was last year. He hasn't been a good player regardless, even last year or his first year, right? And I'll be honest, even the Gold Glove stuff, I've always kind of noticed, like, obviously his arm was always weak, first of all, and his fielding I don't think, like, I'm not gonna give him a pass, right? I'll say that. If you was playing hurt, it's the minute you step on that field, whether hurt or not, that's on you. You got to perform, hurt or not. And if you're hurt, then you need to get off the field. And I said this before, guys. I remember I said watch them come towards the end of the season or in the off season. Watch them come out and say, oh, it turns out that he was playing hurt the whole time. And a lot of people are going to buy into that and give him a pass. I'm not giving him a pass. I've watched the guy for 3 years, and I know that, look, if the Yankees could pick up a shortstop this offseason, you do it. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But let me know what you guys think in the chat. Do you think that that Volpe's struggles are due to his, I guess, his shoulder injury? And here's the Yankees always botch stuff like this, right? This is why I can't take it serious. I really can't. Now you're coming out and talking about, oh yeah, by the way, we got to give him cortisone shots because the dude's shoulder shot. Now you want to come out that injury happened in May when you heard the shoulder, and they didn't even take him out the game then. They left him in the game and they told us everything was okay. Look, my whole thing, look, you can't save face now. I feel like now they're just saying that they don't just want to say, it's like they don't want to be wrong. That's the shit that gets me upset, right? They can't just say, look, we're going to start Caballero because he's better and Volpe struggling. They're going to come out with something like that and say, hey, he's hurt, so we got to sit him down. It's not because Caballero's better, or that's the better option right now. It's because he's hurt, right? It makes no sense, guys. So, I don't, to me, man, I look, the Yankees have been spewing they've been gaslighting the shit out of us for so long that, to me, I'm immune to it already. Like, it goes in one ear and comes out the other. I'm like, yeah, whatever, Whatever. But let me say what's up to the chat, man. You guys been awesome. Frank Rivera, what's up, man? Frank says, good evening. Katie, what's up, Katie? Jacob, my brother, what's going on? I don't know why I'm uber confident about this weekend. I hope so, man. I'm not gonna lie, like and call me maybe I'm naive, right? I just, it's hard for me to root against even if we suck, I'm gonna root and hope for the best for this team. But it's gonna be tough. I will say that it's gonna be tough, especially the way the bullpen's been. The bullpen's been straight ass, you know. And you know, it's funny that yesterday I should have went live. I had some stuff to do. By the time I got home, it was pretty late. I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna do it. But I told you guys that there is nobody in that bullpen that I really trust. I'll be honest, nobody. Not even in look, David Bednar's probably the one guy that I trust more than others, but I don't even have a ton of confidence in him either. If I'm being quite honest, I don't have a ton of confidence in him either. He hasn't even pitched since Sunday. So he's well rested, though. He is well rested. Jacob says, last time Yankees and Red Sox had a series with this that was this meaningful was in 2021. Yeah, I remember that grass slam, man. He hit that thing clean over the green monster. It's crazy. I was in Charlotte when that happened. And you know what's funny? I mean, it's not funny, right? But I don't know, you guys, a lot of stuff in the news too, by the way. I don't like to talk about news and politics and stuff like that. But this world is crazy. But anyway, on Charlotte, something happened recently on one of those Charlotte trains. And it's crazy that when Giancarlo Stanton hit that grand slam, I was about to go on it's like a trolley system they have over there in Charlotte. I was about to go on one of those. And I was screaming in the street. People were looking at me like, what the hell? But yeah, man, good times. Nando, what's up, man? Gotta be the biggest Volpe hater. No, I'm not Nando, you've been around for a minute, right? Even before the season started, right, Nando? I've been saying it like, yo, dude, to me, I'm not very high on Volpe. I wasn't coming into the season. And I was like, look, this is year 3. If I don't see something in year 3, he's gotta go. He has gotta go. Yeah, Roxy's out there somewhere. Yep. But let me see. I think Boone already spoke, so we'll save that for later. But looking at the box score, right? Obviously Judge with 2 home runs, 3 hits. He went 3 for 4, 3 runs scored, 2 RBIs, 1 strikeout. Austin Slater leading off today. I don't know what that was about. At least he got a hit though, because he didn't start off strong. 1 for 5, 3 strikeouts. Not what you want. I mean, the guy just came off the IL, so we'll give him. I don't know why he was leading off though. Like that really didn't. I don't get it. Right? That's just me. I get it. They want to get him in the game because they trying to see. The thing right now is they trying to get a lot of these guys They're trying to get him going into the playoffs, right? But leading off, like, come on, what are we doing? Obviously, Jazz Chisholm had a big night, 2 for 4, 2 RBIs and a walk. Paul Goldschmidt with 2 hits tonight. Ben Rice continues to hit the ball hard with 2 freaking liners, 2 doubles that were just shots, man. He had 1 RBI on the night. Caballero 2 for 3 with an RBI. And McMahon was the only one without a hit. Went 0 for 3. But at least he had a walk, so he did reach base safely. Slow Burner, what's up, man? Gosman threw a complete game today. Yeah, he could complete these nuts too, man. Nobody trying to hear that. Yankees for the win was good, my guy. He says, what's up? We're only doing a show when we win. I wanted the show last night. Kool-Aid for all while we won a game against their bullpen. Man, I had shit to do, man. I was thinking about it, but I was like, look, I'm not going on at midnight over here. I'm in Texas, so when it's midnight over here is 1 a.m. on the East Coast. And then I had to work 2 in the morning. I was like, yeah, man. Look, I wish if I didn't have a full-time job, dude, like my job takes a lot of it. I work like 50, 60 hours a week, right? Just at work. And I gotta be up every morning at 4:35, you know, around there. And I have kids, man. I got a full freaking schedule, a full plate, right? So it's hard, man. I wish if I didn't have nothing to do, I'd be streaming all day. I would stream all day, you know, but man, I wish, you know, maybe one day this could be my full-time job like some other YouTubers, but right now it's not, man. So that's why I come on here late, and to be honest, it kicks my ass sometimes because I got to wake up so early that I'm tired, man. I'm 41 years old. I'm not a spring chicken no more. So I feel it, man. But you're right, though, man. They got smashed yesterday, too. D's channel, I don't think so. I've always thought Volpe was below average. They continue to play him after 4 months. That's wild. Yeah, man. Slowburner said, do you see Gosman today? No, but I'm sure you will inform us on what they did. But yeah, folks, I mean, Cam Schlittler, look, Cam Schlittler gave us 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 7 strikeouts. He looked good, but you know, I don't know. He's not there. He's not quite there yet for me. He is not quite there yet. I feel like he's and I think David Cohn said something today. He made a good point. He was like that he got to learn how to. Matt Blake said, like, you know, go north to south with pitchers, especially with the fastball. You can't just be throwing the fastball at the same spot all the time. Granted, at least he's throwing them for strikes, but hitters will get on playing with the ball quick. You know, you got to change their eye levels and do stuff like that. I feel like once he gets that strikeout pitch under control, like that curveball especially, and he has that thing working for him, that he's going to be deadly. But he's good, though. He's still good because even when he makes a mistake, you know, he could overpower you. So Cam Schlittler has looked really good. Look, I still will say this. If the wild card started tomorrow, he would not be my third starter. I'm sorry, guys. Like, and I love the dude. I really do. I'm very high on Cam Schlittler. I think he's going to be a great pitcher. But right now, me personally, I would go with Luis Hill. And that's just me. And a lot of it is a gut feeling. And I'm going based on experience, too, because he has a lot more experience than Cam. But my 3 for a wild card right now would be Fried, Rodon, Luis Hill. But again, that could change by the time the wild card comes. Hopefully we avoid that, right? By beating Slowburner and his Toronto Blue Jays, right? If we could catch them. But if not, that's my 3. That is my 3. In a division series, you go 4 pitchers in the rotation. Then it gets interesting, right?
You're the real MVP.
Then it gets interesting because it's like who'd you rather have in the rotation? Because somebody, either Cam Schlittler or Will Warren, who do you want in the rotation between the two? And who would you rather have in the bullpen? You know, so that's gonna be interesting to see how they do that if we make it to the division series. Yankees for the win. Appreciate the dono, man. He says, busting out the Kool-Aid packets. I had Kool-Aid for everyone. Why didn't Jason Dominguez play? We have to have Rice in front of Judge. Judge home run number 1 is on base. Oh, Judge home run and no one is on base. Yeah, because they put Austin Slater there. I don't know what the hell was that about, really. I think they literally put Austin Slater there in front of Judge to see if it'll help him hit or something. You know, I have no idea why they did that. But you're right. Yeah, you're right, man. Look, I tell you what, man, a little bit of Kool-Aid ain't never killed nobody, man. It ain't never hurt nobody. But I'll be honest, this team, especially after the last 2 wins, and I said this when I was on 2 days ago. I said, even though the Yankees have been winning and they've been on a hot streak, the ugly side of the Yankees has still showed. It's just that we ignored it because we were winning, you know. So, and the biggest concern is the bullpen, and the fundamentals is still not there. There's some things even today. I saw some stuff like people not positioned where they're supposed to be on a play. So we'll see. We'll see how it pans out It ain't over till it's over, right? Like the great Yogi Berra said, it ain't over till it's over. Frank Rivera says, I don't know torn labrum affected your brain because he has made a lot of stupid plays, built an excuse to bring him back next year. Lies and more lies. No, that's what I'm saying, Frank, that it's gaslighting, man. That's what the Yankees do, because they just don't want to admit, like, hey, like Volpe, he's just not good right now. We got to go with Caballero. He's the better option right now, the better shortstop right now. Instead, they're going to say, oh, he's hurt. That's why we have to put Caballero in. But they can't just say, look, we were wrong. We benching this dude. Caballero's our new starting shortstop. Until otherwise, they won't do that. They would never do that, man. They'd rather blame it on an injury or something. Guys, they knew about this since May when he hurt his shoulder. And even then, they said that injury has been there already. That tear in his labrum had already been there from a previous injury. Remember, I'm keeping receipts on these guys, man. It's a lot of funny stuff, man, especially when you start getting with the medical stuff and the injuries. The Yankees love blowing smoke in their fans' rear ends. I'm not falling for it anymore. But I will drink a little Kool-Aid every now and then in honor of my boy Yankees for the win. NFE is in the building. What's up, NFE? I'm trying to catch up to the chat real quick. Yeah, Celia, what's up, Celia? Unless Toronto completely falls apart, I just can't see the Yankees even having a shot. They're technically 4 games back. You're absolutely correct. They 4 games back with how many games is left? What, like 15 games? Yeah, it's not a lot of time left to take these. Now, if the Yankees had won yesterday, because the Blue Jays had lost, and we were 2 back, I'd feel a lot better. And it's crazy because that's only 1 game, but we're talking about 15 games left. There's not a lot of games left. So 4 games is a lot. The Yankees could do it, but we're relying at this point. We're relying on the Blue Jays to really to start struggling a little bit, and we got to do our part in winning. So we'll see. So let's say it depends on the team because Warren has pitched well against certain playoff teams, but not others. Cam has looked fairly shaky against all the playoff teams. I think Cam, the thing with Cam is not really that he's shaky, is that he can't seem to get that strike 3. Like he gets him to 2 strikes and he can't get that strike 3. He starts, his fastball starts getting a little flat. I noticed he started throwing a little 2-seamer in there today, which is good. Just kind of give a different, because it's gonna tunnel. All the pitchers tunnel the same, but they end up going different directions. I think he's searching for that secondary pitch that he can really, get batters off balance. And I think the curveball is it. But you gotta land the curveball. You gotta throw it for strikes, or at least close enough to a strike that the players will swing. That they will swing at it. What's up, Susan? Jack Maloney, not to be confused with Officer Mahoney from Police Academy. That's old school. You don't know about that. To keep it a buck, though, I'm not going to trash the Yankees because I respect the team, and a lot of Yankee YouTubers don't got their head in the sand. You're one of the good ones. I appreciate it. I don't know what that means, man, but I'm going to trash the team, man. If they trash, I'm going to trash. I'm one that certain things I'll hold my tongue for. And I try, especially, at this season, I came into this season. You could go back to my older videos and you'll see I bashed this team, man, and Boone and everybody, right? But I came into this season saying, you know what? I'm gonna give everything a fair chance, right? Let bygones be bygones. I'm gonna give, I'm gonna give Boone a clean slate, Cashman a clean slate, Volpe a clean. Everybody gets a clean slate. I came into the season like that, right? And that's changed now, though, because obviously it's changed because they keep doing the same thing over and over. And as a fan, it's frustrating, especially when it's so obvious. Certain things is obvious, super obvious. But, I was listening to Michael K earlier. And I know a lot of people might not like what he says, and me particularly, I've always liked Michael Kay. Do I agree with everything he says? No, right? And sometimes he does, especially not recently, but in the past, sometimes he has been a little bit of a company man, so to speak. But lately, though, he's been keeping it real. And he said, and he said something that made a lot of sense to me. He was like, "Look, the Yankees, they gotta keep throwing. He gets it that we're in a we have to win situation, right? But at the same time, we can't go into the playoffs with our bullpen the way it is. So we gotta pitch them. We gotta pitch them out there to see if they could figure it out, to find it. A guy like Mark Leiter Jr., you gotta give him reps so he can figure it out, because in the playoffs, you're going to need these guys, and that's not the time to figure it out, right? So I kind of understand that from that standpoint, I do. But but sometimes, though, I feel like, man, when you have the game, right? When you have the game, when you're right there, it's not the time to play around. You go with your best guy, but lately the bullpen there is no best guy. Everybody sucks, right? Lately, it seems like. We'll see. Hopefully they get it out of them now, get it out their system, so they could come into the playoffs and shut it down. That'd be nice. Healing men's hearts. Yep, Toronto has the tiebreaker. Yeah, that's why we keep saying it's really 4 games. Woken says watching Jason Dominguez feud is the same as waterboarding. Come on, Woken, man. It's not. It's bad, but it ain't that bad, man. It ain't that bad at all. I'm trying to see, man. My apologies, guys. I came into this unprepared. Unprepared. You know what? Let's listen to Boone. I don't know if you guys listened to Boone already. Let me see something. Okay.
When you look at tonight as a whole, a moment of silence before the game to honor those lost in the attacks, you guys wearing the first responder hats, the President of the United States was here, and you get a Yankees win. Just how do you kind of...
Yeah, it was an awesome night. Meaningful. Captain just spoke about it, just having us out there, kind of all lined up together. First for the moment of silence, then back out there for the anthem, and just that buzz that New York City can create. You definitely felt it tonight. Obviously, the president being here, just an added layer. September baseball against a really good club. A special night to be a part of, and hopefully none of us took it for granted.
Just what did you think of the offense and the way they bounced back as a whole tonight, knowing you're facing an opener, multiple pitchers? How different is that preparation process, and what did you think of the execution?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, because you're just going to get different looks all night long. I thought we did a really good job of the guys of just obviously running out to a lead. A couple long balls there, obviously, but then some really good at-bats to keep adding on. I think, we had some chances to really blow it open even more later on, but, didn't get that back-breaking hit. But, put up 9 after a couple of really tough losses, leaving town, going to play Boston now. That was a good win right there. And Cam, taking it from there and giving us 6 strong innings, Yarbs coming in and finishing it off to kind of reset us a little bit. All in all, a good day.
It was a good day, but you know what? It does, a day like today is like, especially after getting crushed yesterday, we still can't figure out freaking Flattery. Judge, had a terrible day yesterday too. So it's good to see the Yankees hit today, but it's like, come on, man. This was the B squad, in terms of their pitching. So I don't know. Like, I really wish we would have done it yesterday. Hold on, let me fix my light. But nonetheless, look, at this point, we'll take the wins as we can get them. But we gotta show that we can hit versus these good pitchers. That's one thing that really bothers me with this team. As soon as we face a pitcher who's halfway decent, it's like we can't do anything. This team struggles versus pitchers who can throw. If you can throw gas, like I'm talking about real gas, they can't hit it. And if you could throw a good breaking ball, a good curveball, for some reason they can't hit it. This team.
Peter.
I know you speak a lot about Cam's makeup, but just did he show you anything with the way he bounced back from the rough one tonight?
Yeah, but I mean, I expected it, frankly. Meredith asked about, just all the pregame stuff. And, I took a peek at him at one point right before we're going out on the mound, and he was, like you can't tell the difference if it's spring training game or, a big game on 9/11 against a great club. So he was locked in, focused, under control. Stuff was really good, filling up the strike zone. They pressured him a couple times. He makes a huge pitch there with the bases loaded to kind of thwart their one real chance to kind of get right back into the game, and to give us 6 strong, was big.
Yeah,
Dave, right behind you, Peter.
Aaron, aside from the DiMaggio part with Judge, even just the stage tonight, I mean, he met the president before the game.
Yeah.
And then 9/11 still means a lot, obviously, to this city, and baseball's part in it. And for him to come up big on that, what did that mean, do you think, just going beyond?
Yeah, it was meaningful, to see your superstar go out there and do that. And I know what it meant to Aaron. I know, and you guys.
All right, man. But look, I get it. He did it when the president was there. I need you to do it when shit is on the line, okay? All right? I need you to do it versus big-time pitching in a big-time situation. I need you to step up. I guess today, maybe, hopefully, it gets him going. But again, like, we're facing the B squad, That's why even, that Game 4 of the World Series last year, even that one was like, they weren't throwing their best at us. Like, we gotta when this team starts beating really good teams, all right? And we did, though. We started off strong versus the Astros and the Blue Jays, taking those 2 series. But then coming into this one, not only did the bullpen shit the bed, the bullpen couldn't do anything, but the offense couldn't get it going either. These first 2 games. And we didn't even see Scooble. Imagine if we would have saw Scooble, Tarek Scooble. He probably would have pitched a no-hitter against us, the way these dudes were hitting the last couple of days. So, I get it. 9 runs, good. But I need to see more. I need to see them do it versus top-quality pitching, because that's what we're going to face in the playoffs. I'm trying to fix my light up here. For some reason, it's not cooperating with me. Yeah, whatever. I'll fix it after the stream. After the stream, we'll fix it. But let me go. Celia says, Jason, do you seriously believe that this team can beat the Red Sox in a World Series? I mean, in a wild card series. I do think they can. I do think they can. They haven't showed us anything that they could the whole season, right? Because they've been smashing us. I think they can, but the likelihood of it is very low. I will say that. Because for some reason we cannot hit Brian Bayo. We cannot hit Brian Bayo for some reason. And we cannot hit Garrett Crochet. And those are the 2 guys we're going to face. And Lucas Giolito pitched us a hell of a game versus us the other, what was it, last week, a couple weeks ago. So he's no pushover either. It'll be tough, really tough, but it's doable. It is doable. Now, the key for that is that we have to, especially if we play at Fenway's, man, I'm telling you, it's going to be a steep hill to climb, right? So we got to make sure that we take that top wild card spot at the very minimum if we're not going to win the division. But somebody who asked, Jose G asked who's pitching tomorrow. This is the matchup that's scheduled for tomorrow so far. Luis Hill versus Lucas Giolito. Giolito, they had signed him, 2 years ago? They gave him a lot of money, man, and he ended up having he ended up getting Tommy John surgery, so his first year with them was a wash. But he's finally back on the squad and finally earning his money earning the money they gave him. I think they gave him like 20 million or 19 million a year, something like that. They gave him a nice check. They did give him a nice check. So that's tomorrow's matchup right there. And as far as how we fare versus Lucas Giolito, this is our stats versus Lucas Giolito. Slater's 1 for 3 versus him. Cody Bellinger's 1 for 3. Grisham's 0 for 4. Judge is 0 for 6 versus him. So I'll be honest, not great numbers, right? Apparently we don't hit this guy very well. Our average versus him is 227 and 141 plate appearances. 6 home runs versus him, though. So, look, Ahmed Rosario hits him very well, so I would expect him to be in the lineup at least tomorrow. And Caballero's 2 for 3 against him. They have the best numbers, Caballero and Ahmed Rosario. So it's interesting to see. It's interesting to see if Volpe's going to be in the lineup, right? We will see. We will see. But that's our stats versus Lucas Giolito. Put that away. Mets are going to choke and not make it to the playoffs. I think they'll make it. If they don't make it to the playoffs, that's really, really bad, man. Really bad. And I'm not going to lie. A part of me is like good for them, right? And not because I don't hate on the Mets and them, but it's that the fans hate on us so bad. The whole offseason, especially in the beginning of the season, because they were doing so well, right? Oh man, and them landing Soto, we've been hearing it from Met fans all season long, and now it's like they're a game and a half back against the Reds. I think they have the tiebreaker versus the Giants, so that's probably 2.5 there. Versus the Reds, I don't think they have the tiebreaker because they just got swept by them. So it's gonna be it's getting close. That's crazy that they're 76 and 71 right now. That is nuts. They could possibly finish under 500, which is absolutely insane. Let me take a look at the NL East right now. Damn, 11 games back. It's not good. They were just in first place. They had took first place for like 2 games and then just completely lost it. And I'll tell you what, Mendoza's getting a lot of heat right now. He is getting a lot of heat, Carlos Mendoza. That's the Mets manager. But guess what? He's a product of Boone. He came from the Yankees, right? Him and Boone. He was the assistant coach for so long. So I don't know. I'm not that. Maybe that has nothing to do with it, but they kind of make the same dumb. They manage a little bit the same way, and I don't like their style of management. Put it that way. Yes Network needs a Name That Bum segment. You guys are crazy. Jose G, yo, Jason, why are fans so worried about the Red Sox as if the Yankees are soft, though? For real. Man, but every time we play them soft, though. We act soft. Remember the last time we played them? What happened? They smashed us the first 2 games. We didn't do anything. And that third game, we won because, again, they kind of gave it us. Like today versus the Tigers, right? That third game is like, all right, we're not going to go out. They throw in the B squad. They save all the bullpen arms and stuff like that, right? All the good arms. And the same thing with Boston. They dominated us. And then we have played them how many times? Let me count. 1 for 3. Then we're like 2 for 8. versus them. 3, 6. Yeah, and we're like 2 versus the Red Sox this season. We're like 2 wins, 8 losses versus them. So yeah, that's why it worries us. That's why they worry us. And it is the way it's looking right now. We're gonna end up facing them in a wild card, and that's not what you want. It's because they haven't hit Crochet and Bello the entire. Yeah, and the numbers versus Bello are terrible, absolutely terrible. Hopefully the Yankees can bring their offense to the series with the Red Sox. I hope so. I do hope so. So we got Lucas Giolito going tomorrow. Then on Saturday we have Max Fried versus Brayan Bello. That dude, I don't know what it is about him. We cannot hit this guy, and it's not like a one-off thing. We haven't hit this dude in years. If you look at Aaron Judge's numbers versus this dude, they're terrible. They're terrible. And you know what? I'm gonna pull those up in a second here. Let it load up. They are absolutely terrible versus him. And then after Bello, all right, they haven't officially announced Sundays. No, what? I got the wrong thing. Here we go. And then this is Sunday's matchup. Will Warren versus Gary Crochet. Talk about a mismatch, right? So that's why, man, like, if the Yankees could take this series, considering who they got pitching, and those are the 3 right there. That's gonna be their 3. If we face them in the wild card series, it's gonna be Gary Crochet, Brayan Bello, and Lucas Giolito. That's who we're gonna face, and that's the same 3 we faced the last time. The same pitchers they threw at us the last time we faced Boston, and that didn't end well. That did not end well. They handed us our asses. Was he okay, Celia? I get it, but I don't feel like the Yankees are scared of the Red Sox, and they know they can. I'm not saying I don't think they're scared of anybody, obviously, but they you can't deny it, man. They have our number. I'm scared of them. TC was good, my brother. Jason, stop it. Stop it. Here is your. Jason, stop it. Here is your cookie and Kool-Aid. What are you talking about, dude? Hold on, let me put this thing away. Here's your cookie and Kool-Aid. Someone please pull Stanton. Split the last 15. He is burning out. He is hot in October because it's only 3 weeks. Sit him now. Rest. I mean, he had a home run today. Stanton's he's gonna do his thing. I'm not worried about Stanton, you know. And we gotta win these games. Look, even though it seems like we're gonna get this wild card no matter what, but even that's not locked in either right now. Look at the Mets. The Mets are almost out of a wild card spot, and that could happen to us too. I mean, it's highly unlikely right now, but we're not that much ahead. We're only 3 games up on the Mariners for the last wild card spot, and then so 4.5. Bro, it's gonna get tight. I don't think the Yankees are gonna lock in a playoff spot until the last series of the last series, maybe even a little before that. We won't lock in a playoff spot. So let me see. Those last 2 series, it may go down to that last series versus Baltimore. But I don't think we're gonna lock in a playoff spot until then. So we got to keep playing it out. You got to play it out no matter what. Hopefully, look, what are we in this gauntlet now? We lost 2, 3, 4. We're 5-4, right? 5-4 in this 12-game gauntlet, so to speak. We got to take 2 out of the next 3. We have to take 2 out of the next 3. We got to show Boston that we could beat them. And this is essentially a wild card right here. This could be a wild card series. This could be a preview to the wild card series. A 3-game series versus Boston. Even though we don't have our pitchers lined up the way I would like, but they got their pitchers lined up perfectly versus us. They got their top 3. So it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough. Let me pull this away. This is versus Brian Bayo, the Yankee stats. Cody Bellinger has good numbers versus him. Grisham has good numbers versus him. I'll get to the super in a second here. Judge is terrible versus him. 2 hits out of 20 at-bats. And Stanton. Ben Rice is 2 for 8. Austin Wells 1 for 6. I mean, you got some guys in there with good numbers. Not a lot, though. Not a lot of guys in there with good numbers. Versus Brian Bayo. The Yankees are batting .206 versus him. Jose Caballero. Volpe got some decent numbers versus him. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. It's going to be interesting how they play this. Roy with the 2. Appreciate it, man. Bro, I can only pray. Yeah, man. That's all we can. Pretty much all any of us could do. Any of us could do. But I'd like to know where were you guys if you was alive on 9/11 2001. Where were you? Where were you? Do you remember where you were at? That's one of those days that forever in history. In my mind, I can never forget where I was at. At the time, I was 16, 17 years old. I was in a GED program, and it was a GED program. It was at a school called Eastside High, I think it was. The school's on 96th Street and FDR Drive, between First Avenue and FDR Drive in Manhattan. I was in a GED. It's crazy because it was only my 3rd day in that GED class because I had dropped out in the 9th grade, right? So I'm in this GED class. And I'm not gonna lie, I had been in that school for 2 weeks at this point, but I only went 3 times. So that particular day, 9/11 2001, I made a way up there, right? I made my way up there because I grew up in the Lower East Side on 6th Street and Avenue D. So this is all the way in 96th Street. So I'm in the school, right? And the school used to have a little phone by the door, and somebody called, the teacher picks up, and she looks scared already. She's like, and she pulls out the TV. They had a rack, right, with the big old TVs in it, and she puts on the news. I think it was New York 1 or something like that. And they were showing, the first plane that hit the tower. And right next to that school on 96th Street, and between First Avenue and FDR Drive, there's a hospital. So we could hear the sirens going crazy outside because there's a hospital right there. I forgot what it's called. I think it's Metropolitan Hospital or something like that. So we there and everybody's just chilling. We just in the class and people are like, yo. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. They probably, we thinking it's an accident. But some people, I remember this one girl was like, no way. They were like, there's no way you crash into that by accident, right? And while we talking about it, another one, boom, right? At that point, everybody's like, oh, shit. It's crazy, right? But I'm in 96th Street, so I'm really very far from it at this point. But the hospital that's next to me, they must have been sending ambulances down there because it was going crazy. That's all I hear, sirens and just mayhem. And immediately when that happened, I don't know if it was the prince, I don't know who it was. They put on the loudspeaker and they're like, look, everybody go home. If you live downtown, right, all the trains going downtown were all shut down. Everything was shut down. And I'm like, how am I going to get home, right? So I'm thinking, how am I going to get home? So everybody's dismissed. I get out and it's crazy. And then people I see everybody, it's like everybody got off work and everything. So I go to, I think it was 3rd Avenue or Lexington Avenue. I can't remember because First Avenue goes uptown. Oh, does it go downtown? Can't remember. I don't know. It was either First Avenue or 3rd Avenue. It's been a minute, right? This is a long time ago. So it was so much. The buses were all full, right? The buses are full. And I'm not gonna lie. I was young, right? I used to smoke a lot of marijuana. I was a pothead at the time, so I'm smoking whatever. And the buses were full, so I couldn't get on the bus. So I just hopped up on the back. Back in the day, we used to ride on the back of the MTA buses, just kind of hang on the back. So I'm hanging on the back, and it's going real slow, going downtown, and then people started seeing me do that. They were jumping on. So it was a bunch of us back there. I'm talking about like business guys in business suits and everything. They on the back of the bus with me, and I remember like we got to a certain distance where you can see like all the, because the way New York is pretty much a grid. You guys, most of you are from New York, but it's like if you're on a certain avenue, you can see all the way down to the other side of the island pretty much. So I'm seeing all the smoke and stuff, and I'm on the back, right, and I hear people screaming, going crazy. So I jump off because we're going very slow at this point. I jump off, and it was just, you can see the mushroom just coming. At this point, I'm very close to I'm getting closer downtown because I'm trying to get downtown, and it was just crazy, right? But it still really didn't hit me like that, you know. And everybody's like, oh, screaming and going crazy. So I get to I think, was it 23rd Street? I get to 14th Street, right? Cause remember I live in 6th. I get to 14th Street and they weren't letting nobody pass. They set up blocks. Like if you didn't have ID saying that you live past a certain spot, you weren't getting past. So, you know, they let me go. I didn't even have ID. I just convinced the dude like, yo, I live down there. So he lets me go. I make it all the way home. I grew up on 6th Street and Avenue D, right there on the FDR Drive, pretty much. So I make it home. And we had the windows open. I lived on the 12th floor. My mom still lives in the same apartment. And I remember because we used to be able to see the Twin Towers on the left side and the Empire State Building on the right side. And it was just in my house, like, you ever seen like the TVs covered with dust? It was like white stuff everywhere. White stuff. So I close all the windows. I'm like, what the hell is going on? I leave my house, right? I'm looking for my mom. Like, where the hell is my mom? Like, and I didn't have cell phones back then. This is 2001. So I leave. I go to my friend's house, and he's like on Houston Street, and you can see the FDR Drive and the bridge and everything, and you can see a bunch of people. It looked like a zombie apocalypse. There's people just walking up the FDR Drive with their suitcases, like a whole bunch of people, and across the bridge too. So I'm seeing people walking up the FDR Drive like this, and then on top of the bridge too, walking across the bridge, just covered in dust. Like somebody just threw a bucket of dust on them, like just white stuff. Just like if they shook, it would be like powder. That's how it looked. And they walking up, and I'm just like, and then it started hitting me like, bro, this is crazy. This is insane, right? What the hell is going on? And then people were scared. I see people packing their bags like with their luggage. I'm like, where you going? Like people I knew. And they're like, because where I live, there's a power plant right down 14th Street and Avenue D. It's Con Edison. So people were like, oh, they're going to blow up Con Edison or something like that. So everybody was all panicking. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy, right? So they go, and I'll never forget that. This is a big reason why I joined the Army, right? I joined the Army because, first of all, my father was in the Army, even though he passed away when I was 1. And my grandfather was also in the Army. I never actually knew them because obviously they died before I was old enough to even remember them or anything like that. But I always like had I was always patriotic. You know, when I was younger, I don't know if you guys remember, like in the early 90s during Desert Storm, they would give like trading cards. I would collect baseball cards and all that. But then they had the Desert Storm baseball cards where it's like the generals and tanks and stuff. So I used to love that stuff. I used to love G.I. Joe and all that craziness, right? But anyway, September 11th, right? The next day, it's September 12th. I remember I live on the 12th floor. I'm sleeping and I wake up to just the building shaking. I woke up terrified. My building was just shaking like that. All my trophies were falling from the shelves and stuff. And it was the jets just flying over. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. I get goosebumps thinking about it right now. That I just woke up, I grabbed my bike and I was like, yo, I got to go down there. I got to see this for myself, right? I lived on 6th Street. It's not that far, really. I could walk down there. It's a long walk, but I could have walked on there, but I grabbed my bike, right? Every point that I got to, I rode all the way to Houston Street. They weren't letting anyone pass Houston Street. So I go all the way to the West Side Highway. If anybody knows New York, knows Manhattan, you'll know what I'm talking about. I ride all the way to the West Side Highway and try to go downtown, right? But everywhere you go in, if you didn't have ID saying that you lived there, they wouldn't let you. But I grew up in this. The city's my playground, so I was finding little back alleys and stuff, ways to get around, and I made it as far as I can. Like really close where I could see some of the debris, and I was seeing all the fire trucks like driving in and out, and people with signs, and it was just crazy, man. It was really bugged out. It really was, and it's crazy because that kind of changed everything. And then I wanted to join the Army at then, when I turned 18, but I didn't have my GED or a high school diploma, and then I ended up getting my GED and stuff, and it's crazy. And look, that was 9/11, right? And my first day in the Army, right? When I first joined the Army, the first day I went to basic training was September 11th, right? Obviously, this was 7 years later. 7 years later, I found myself, I'm in the Army. I'm in Fort Knox on September 11th. And within a year, I'm in Iraq. So, and I remember, like, I'll be on convoys, like driving through Baghdad and just thinking, like, it's crazy. I remember being in 9/11 and stuff, riding my bike, trying to see. It was just a crazy time, man. It's one of those things that I'll never forget. And it's sad. Like this, and like I feel for everybody who lost somebody and stuff like that. Me, I didn't lose anybody, anything like that. Probably the closest thing, I have two uncles that were police officers, and they were down there, but thank God they were fine. But I would say this though, it was a different time. Like it felt like we were more united. When that happened, I don't think we were ever as that united. No matter what you believed in or whatever ideologies you subscribe to or anything, everybody was like, we were like one team. Everybody was like, bro, we all together, right? Whether it was fate, whatever you believe, at that moment, it felt like people were united, people were helping each other out and stuff, So that's my 9/11 story. I mean, it's a long time ago, man. It's crazy. Like most of us lived through that stuff. It's bugged out. It really is. But yeah, so let me see what you guys says. I'm trying to see. Real Bill says, I was helping my wife take care of our two youngest sons. I really wanted to go back to the U.S. Air Force, to the Air Force. Man, it felt like everybody was I'm not gonna say patriotic, but everybody was like, we were just like, you know what? Like they say, the best way to bring people together is to have a common enemy, right? It's like we were all down, like, we'll stop arguing for now, but we gotta go get these dudes. A says he was in middle school, oddly enough, in history class watching history unfold. That's crazy. Andrew says, I wasn't born yet, I'm only 17. Yeah, young one. Where it says, I was at work, but the next day I was making delivery in New Jersey, just across the Hudson, seeing the city still smoking. Yeah, and you know what's crazy, man? Like, I used to go down there a lot because I used to work on Broadway. It was 255 Broadway for this thing called American Clerical. This is before emails and all that stuff. Like the courts, they used to have to get like legal documents and stuff used to have to be hand delivered. It was actually all paper, like that was typed up and stuff. So, I used to work for a company where we go deliver to all the law firms and to the courts and stuff. And there was a couple times that I had to go to that route because somebody took off to the World Trade Center and go in those buildings and stuff. So yeah, it's crazy stuff, man. Crazy, but that thing changed everything. Rubio says, I was 43 years old on 9/11. I volunteered to re-enlist in the United States Air Force. I went back as a lieutenant colonel. Yeah, Jose G, God bless. Donnie Clark, salute. Yeah, Jason, I was a sophomore in high school when 9/11 happened. Yeah. Air Force for 8 years now. Oh, so you out, right? Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah, in the World Series, I was telling my son that, man, I'll never forget that, where even though we lost, but when, and whether you're a fan of Bush or not and everything, when he came in there, man, and the whole scene was screaming US, I get goosebumps, man. It was just it was a crazy time to be alive, man. A real crazy time to be alive. And the city was still like, it was still hectic. It was still chaos, you know. I remember it was so chaotic, right? That that I think it was either September 11th that night or the next night. Everybody was like, because there was not everybody was just outside in the project. I grew up in the projects down there in Lower East Side, Lindenwood Project. So everybody's just outside chilling. And I remember there was a fight, right? It was a big fight, and there was these detectives, and they were going, and their car looked like it just came out of a war zone. Like they like those buildings literally landed on those cars. It was all just white with powder all over and just all banged up. And they're like, oh, I guess somebody had a knife, and there was a big fight, right? And the guy looked, and the cop looked, and he said, I don't care, kill you. He was like, kill each other. He was like, do you guys realize what's happening right now? I don't got time for this. And just went right, they just went into their unmarked police car and took off. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. You know, it's a crazy time. But I'm glad that you know, obviously it's a sad situation and everything, but you know, I feel like it just, when I think back about it, right, it just shows, especially in New York, right? I can't speak because I at the time I was only in New York City, but I remember just the kind of the unity, like everybody came together, man. It really felt like everybody came together. It was and I don't think I've ever seen it like that since, right? That everybody from all walks of life came together. It was like, look, like it's different, man. It is. And I remember when I was on the next day when I went over there, I rode my bike over there, I was seeing the fire trucks. I was seeing like fire trucks from different states and stuff coming in, and it was crazy, man. And people holding up signs and stuff like that, and it's just bugged out. You know, good old analog days, using maps, fax machines, etc. Yeah, you know, definitely. He was in a Coast Guard, so you served too, man. Good, yeah, it was good times, man. Good times. But you know, right now, I don't want to get like all political and everything, man. There's a tough time right now in this country. And I will say this, man. Like, whatever it is you believe, like, just freedom of speech is so important, guys. Like, whether you agree with something or not, man, just the fact that you're allowed to say whatever you want, you know. Obviously, there comes consequences with certain things you say, right? There's consequences and stuff, but you know, when I joined the army and I've been to places, different places, and you start appreciating what you have over here a little bit more. I get it. We have a lot of problems here. It's not, you know, it's not perfect by any means, right? But my goodness, man, I'd rather be here than anywhere else. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I've seen, like, I've been to war, guys. Like, literally, I've seen what it could be, and like, man, we're blessed. We're blessed, man. Really, really blessed. I look at my kids; they don't realize how blessed they are, how fortunate we are. Just even things, little things like water, just running water. You turn on most people have at least not the greatest water maybe from out the faucet, but it's decent running water. It's just little things like that. You'll be surprised that stuff is not, it's not something that's common everywhere, you know. I've seen people suffer in other places. And I get it, you know, I was in Iraq, and maybe it wasn't the worst time to be there, but man, you see, even when there's no action happening, right? There's no combat happening, but just seeing the people there, the poverty, and just the, you know, the devastation, like literally, that's what it is. It's devastation. It's sad, man. It's sad. So we're fortunate here, for real. I know a lot of people might not want to hear that, but it's the truth. It is the truth, right? Oh man, I messed something up here. Let me see. Yep. But anyway, folks, that's gonna do it for me. Appreciate everyone who joined me, man. I'm trying to be consistent every day, but just bear with me. Sometimes I got stuff going on, man. If you haven't liked, please like the stream. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I will see you guys tomorrow, and hopefully, please, Yankees, let's take game 1 at least. Let's start the series good. Can we do that? For crying out loud, I think we can. Anyway, folks, have a blessed night. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Yeah. Bronze Bomber Biz. They told Otani, but they forgot who run this. Yeah. It's just season MVP type shit. Let's go. Judge of the bat, crowd hold their breath. Pitch coming in, that ball meant death. 4-4-2, that nuke just left. Ain't no pitcher safe when he got that cleft. Cap on low with them sleeves roll tight. He swing like thunder, gone out of sight. Otani cool, yeah, dude got flair, but Judge hit bombs that ain't even fair. Real MVP, don't need no show. 62 last year, you already know. Oppo dead and a poolside pop. Ball leave quick like he calling a cop. Real MVP, that's number 99. Y'all crown Otani, that's Cuba blind. Big man cooking in that Bronx stew. You want